Hello there. Here we are at the Rocket Ridge Rusty Show. And in today's episode, we're going to be learning about saw binding, okay? What saw binding is when, and I'm going to teach you what it means. You're making a cut and you're not applying the proper pressure that should basically be natural instinct. Okay? I'm sure you have no clue what that is. We're going to learn about it anyway. I guess the easiest way for me to show you what saw binding is to pretty much make it happen. You know, just cut a piece of wood the wrong way. The way someone would do it, you know, their first time picking up a saw without understanding, you know, how to cut a piece of wood, okay? So saw binding is that the blade is going to grab the piece of wood because it's not being cut properly. Okay? This is the power saw, okay? Watch. It's not cut, right? So yeah, it's smoking. Yeah, I can smell the smoke. So it started to burn. See how it didn't cut through here? See that? It cut everywhere, but it didn't cut there, okay? Applying pressure to a piece of wood, like this, the blade's gonna get pinched. That's the saw binding that I'm talking about there, is that the blade will pinch in between the two pieces of wood where you're cutting, okay? So let's just get this a little bit easier for you to see. Okay, so now we're going to get this a little closer for you to see. I want you to see this in action. I want you to make a note of it, okay? If you're serious about learning this stuff, either you got to memorize it or you got to write it down. Or you got to write it down 3 times, okay? So we're going to do it again. Saw binding, okay? And I'm showing you what not to do, okay? Just gonna set the blade a little bit lower. You see this? Look. You see the blade is pinched here, okay? It's not cutting all the way through, because the blade is being pinched and it's causing smoking, okay? We don't want that to happen. So the question is that you're looking for, I guess, is how do we make that not happen, okay? See, it's always going to be the spot that you're not going to get it cut, okay? Because it binded up. You got to go back and cut it again. Okay, so what you want to do here is, you want to prevent saw binding, okay? I don't want to waste this beautiful piece of wood, so we're going to start small here and just make a couple no, I have to use the whole piece of wood, otherwise I'm not going to show you saw binding. Okay. So just set the blade all the way through. Now, to prevent saw binding, right, you're cutting into the piece of wood on that line, right? Into that piece of wood. Okay. So as you're cutting in, you need to apply this type of pressure to the wood, like this, to open it. So basically your arm is applying this type of pressure this way. You know, it doesn't take that much. It really doesn't. Just a little bit of pressure is all you really need. You know, unless you're cutting a big piece of wood, ginormous timber or something like that, you know, if you're using a chainsaw or something, you know, then they cut those meat grains into it, right? So for small pieces of wood, you want a smooth, clean cut, right? Smoothest, cleanest cut you can, just right through the wood and call it a day, right? well, then what we're going to do is let the saw apply this pressure on this piece of wood, okay? Because the guard is, whatever side the guard is, okay? On the other side, you just use your hand. Okay, let me show you. Now what I'm doing with my left hand is I'm applying a little bit of pressure with the elbow, pushing that way with the piece of wood. I'm keeping my hand away from the blade. You want to be as safe as possible, and keep the pressure just a little bit away, okay? Now you see how smooth that cut? There was no binding, nothing going on there, okay? Nothing. Because as I was cutting, the piece of wood, I was applying this pressure with my left hand a little bit, and that space right there, this space right here, allows a little bit of wiggle room for that blade. So the blade kind of has some airflow and room to breathe. So as the blade continues through, it just cuts and slides, okay? That's what I'm teaching you here, okay? To prevent saw binding, because if I was holding the piece of wood and I had pressure pointing here, well, it's going to pinch the blade. You understand? It's going to pinch the blade in there. A lot of people don't know this. I don't know if anybody knows this, okay? All right, let's do it again here. Saw binding, okay? That's what we're here for, okay? This is what this YouTube video is for, is to teach you to avoid saw binding, okay? See, if you get this down, if you figure this out and you get this good enough, then every time you cut a piece of wood or something, it's going to be a smooth cut. And then you just got to control the saw. You got to have total control of the saw. The saw is an extension of your body, okay? So by using a saw, you're creating, okay? You are building whatever you want, okay? But right now we're just cutting a piece of wood, okay? But it takes a lot of pieces of wood you could build a house with, you know? So let's just do, I don't know. Let me show you this, okay? Set the blade. Okay, we got power, okay? We still have power here. So, I'm gonna make it bind up here, just so you can see again what I'm talking about. I'm gonna basically apply the wrong pressure to the hand that I'm holding the piece of wood with, okay? And by doing that, we are basically pinching the blade, and then it's not gonna cut all the way through. Okay, so that's what you're going to see happen here. You're going to see it the wrong way first, and then I'm going to show you the right way again. And then I'm going to show you the right way again, and probably one more time. And hopefully by then you'll get it. So then when you make your cuts, you know, you got to be as careful as possible, okay? That you'll do it, you know, properly, okay? Some force open, so it's kind of like more of a scenario thing. The saw is binding right now because I'm at the end of the cut. It's like a very slight bind, okay? If you want me to, I don't really feel like making it do a harsh bind, but I could. Maybe I will in another video. But basically, look at this. Again, see how tight it is here? It's tight. You can see it taking the paint off the blade, okay? It's just kind of spinning there because it's kind of pinched, okay? Now, if I just take this hand on this side here, okay, watch. And I just kind of do this with my elbow and this with my hand, giving it that little bit of pressure, right? Just that little push. Well, that little push is going to make this open just enough, just a tiny bit enough, so that it's just a smooth pass with the saw. Okay, so applying the pressure now the proper way. And it buzzes right through. Okay, so clean that up. There's a lot of different ways you could clean it up. We'll just go over this here with you. Nice and rough cut, huh? Okay. So yeah, you always, if you want to be into the finer detail of this, it's just a little bit of pressure on your hand. That's all you're doing. You're just applying as you cut. So some people think, oh, I'm just going to use my hand, I'm going to cut this piece of wood, right? Like, no. Think about the finer aspects of it, okay? What it is exactly that you are doing. You are taking a heavy tool and you spinning a blade and running it through a piece of wood, okay? To make that smooth, you just put a little pressure with the cut, into the direction you're cutting, and that's going to make it cut smoother. Okay, so now, I hope that this video was helpful. I hope you learned about what saw binding is. I hope you can, practice this safely. I don't know that you really practice things. You kind of just start building things. But yeah, so anyways, thank you for watching episode 3. This is the Rocket Ridge Rusty Show, and I hope you have a great day.